Hello, YouTube. Alright, so today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the boost and sweep EQ effect. Not really much of an effect, more so a proper tool to quickly find out what's sounding good and what's sounding not good on your track and session. So, basically what I'm going to do, I'm opening up a audio file on a fresh new session here. And what I'm going to do first is I'm going to upload in a sound. Now, you can do any sound you want. I think for this demonstration, I'm going to find some sort of synth. Let's see. Alright, let's do this one here. So I'm going to loop this. It's always important to loop the sounds that you're doing. Makes things a lot easier when you're working on them. So, let's see here. So if I go into my track here, the left hand side, you can see everything that you can do to your singular track, which I have here. And if I press play, alright, so I've actually got a song coming out soon with that exact synth. But anyways, let's get into the EQ here. So there's a box in the top left corner here where you can press the EQ, and that's going to automatically add into your effects section right here, an EQ. You can add it in a few different ways, but that's the easiest way right there. Now what you're going to want to do too is put the analyzer on if it's off. So this is off, this is on, and I'm going to add on these two sides here. So another quick tip on EQing. The human ear cannot hear below 20 hertz, even like the best of human hearing can't hear below 20 hertz and 20,000 hertz. So it's common to be dipping those off just a tad even, because it's taking up space, and it's typically, especially for this sound I have here, because it's a synth and it's not a bass synth, you're going to want to leave most of the low end here open for a synth. So I'm just going to show you basically a proper way to go about looking for, first of all, a boost and sweep. So first off, I'm going to press play and I'm going to have it looping. Okay, so we can see the waveform that comes in there. Now when you're doing a boost and sweep, first thing you're going to be doing, you're going to pick a bandwidth here. It really doesn't matter. On Logic here, I'm just using the basic Logic EQ so that everybody has a chance at looking at the same thing. You can take any one of these you want, move them, wherever. In my case, I'm just gonna let's do this one. So what you're gonna want to do is take this and boost it up to 5 decibels, and then you're gonna take the Q here, and you're gonna want to take that down to a 3 if you can. If it can't quite hit 3, don't worry. 310 is fine as well. And then, so another tip: instead of clicking on the dot here and moving it around with that way, it's a lot easier, because you can lose, you'll start to mess around with the decibel as well. So you want to keep it at plus 5 decibels. And what we're going to do is we're going to press play, and while it's playing through, you're going to listen to it a few times, sweeping this hertz, sweeping through the different the different hertz of what you can hear, and being able to see visually what it's doing to the waveform as well. So I'm going to start it at 500, whatever, doesn't matter. I'm going to press play. Okay, so what you're looking for when you're boosting is good and bad. It's very crucial to train your ears into knowing what is a harsh sound and what might be okay to boost a little bit. Boosting, you never need to boost a lot. Depending on the sound that you have found or created, it might be sounding pretty good on its own. You're just looking to clean it up ever so slightly. So I'm finding here that there's a little bit of air. So what you can do after, if you find something you do not like, a sound that's sounding a little bit harsh, after you find it at the 5 decibel point, now you can just take that and you can take it and now subtract a few decibels. Now depending on how harsh the sound is, what it is you're looking for, typically you're not wanting to do a big, something like this isn't a typical EQ effect or modification, I should say. It's typically what you're doing is sticking to maybe between 7 and 0 for cuts. Then what you can also do, 3.0 is very common to use on the cue. However, you still can dial that in a bit more to get an exact reading on the frequency that you are looking to subtract. So that's a basic sweep and cut. Now, if we're looking to do a sweep and boost, typically, especially on synths, what you're going to be doing is a little bit more of a wider boost. Typically, you're boosting such a small pointed frequency. Typically, what you would be doing is, so now let's take this green one, for example, and we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to boost it up to 5 decibels. Take the Q to a 3, 310, 290 would work as well. For this one, I'll do 290. And now same thing. Okay, so ever so quickly, I'm doing this very quickly for you guys, not an exact, not maybe the best that I could be doing on this. However, I quickly noticed I do like what I'm hearing a bit in the 200 range, maybe 210, 220 hertz. So now what I'm going to do actually for this, I'm going to take the Q and I'm going to raise it, make it a wider Q range. 1.6 sounds nice, and now 5 plus 5 decibels is quite a big boost. So what I'm going to do now is lower that down to about a 2.52 range. And so that's a proper boost on a sound that you are trying to up the sound in because it is sounding good. The frequency is nice. And the last thing I'm going to show you guys for the EQ, basic EQing, because you're never looking to do very big drastic changes unless you're using an EQ as a bit of an effect. You can muffle the sound, which I could show you real quick here. So if you want to take all the low end out of this synth here, this is what that'll sound like, and sometimes it's a cool effect. Okay, or cutting all the high out. Okay, now the one last thing for this, you're always looking to see where the waveform is. Now it's sitting between 132 and about, I would say about the 3600 or 3600 hertz range. Now what you can do to really clean up this track and keep all of the other room for all the other tracks and their frequencies, because eventually things can start to sound muddy. So what we're going to do is take the in this case it's the red one, and it works. This one works perfectly. It dials it right off exactly how you would like it to, very slowly. And now you can mess around with that a lot too. You can make that a really sharp cut or a gradual one, which in this case the 18 decibel one is a nice gradual. So, and that's because there's nothing coming in on this side anyways. There's no frequencies coming in here, so it's best to keep that open for a different track, you know, a bass track or kick. And same goes for the high end here. There's nothing coming in over here. So what we can do is take this all the way over here, and with same thing, this one can do a bit more drastic, can cut it off a bit harder than this one. And notice how it hasn't changed the initial sound at all, not quite like when we were cutting it, because what you're doing there is cutting from the actual sound, right? These EQs, they pick up on everything, even the stuff that actually isn't quite there. So very cool stuff. Now this is just a basic tutorial on EQing. Lots of different ways. Lots of people have their own say, their own way of doing things. So, you know, someone might tell me I do it wrong or different from them. I have a fairly pretty nice sound coming in for the beats that I'm creating right now, and yeah, hopefully I could have helped you out. Feel free to leave a comment below, and yeah, check out my music. It's on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, everything that I can think of. Should be 100 different online stores, and I'd really appreciate if you guys gave this video a like and also checked out some of my songs. I've got a whole bunch coming out here soon. So yeah, thank you.